Okay, everyone, let's get started today. This is such a hot topic. Why should we wait another minute? We already have a good amount of people joining us today, and I'm sure it will be an active discussion. So again, my name is Erica Goldwater. I am a marketing consultant for CyanGate, and I am going to moderate today's webinar, E-commerce Efficiency with the Power of Digital Asset Management, brought to you by CyanGate and WoodWing. And the slides are not advancing for some reason. Okay, there we go. Let's go right to the agenda. First and foremost, I want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded. So if there are any questions, you need to review this again or share this with a colleague, you will have ample time to do that. We will be sending out the recorded webinar after this. I will make an introduction to the speakers, introduce the critical role of DAM in e-commerce. We'll go through expert insights with our guest speaker, Sandra Sundbäck. We'll talk about strategies for e-commerce optimization with DAM, go into a case study deep dive with Bülent Dugan, and then we will talk about leveraging partnerships and how to do this effectively within the DAM and e-commerce space. And then finally, we'll wrap up with some Q&A. If there are any questions that you have, please submit them in the chat, and we will do our very best to get to them during the webinar. If we happen to run out of time, we will send responses to all of those questions after the webinar. Thank you so much. We will start with the introductions now. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'm pleased today to introduce three speakers for this webinar. The first one is Sandra Sundbäck. Sandra is a DAM evangelist and consultant at DAM Dynamo. With over a decade in retail and e-commerce, Sandra Sundbäck is known for her practical approach in digital asset management, otherwise known as DAM. She has hands-on experience in leading diverse DAM initiatives, skillfully handling everything from system implementation to the revamping of older setups. Beyond the technical aspects, Sandra emphasizes process efficiency and adept change management. Her comprehensive approach has efficiently steered the daily management of millions of digital assets, reflecting her depth of knowledge and commitment to the field as a DAM evangelist and consultant. Welcome, Sandra. Next, I will introduce Magdalena Inova, product marketing manager from WoodWing. Magdalena is a seasoned product marketer specializing in digital asset management. Her expertise is shaped by regular interactions with WoodWing users, applying DAM solutions to elevate content management. Magdalena brings practical, customer-driven insights to our discussion. Welcome, Magdalena. And last but not least, Bülent Dugan is the founder and chief architect of CyanGate. Bülent has worked in the technology space for over 20 years. He founded CyanGate in 2007 to provide cost-effective services and solutions in the DAM space. He continues to drive innovation and develop new solutions for OneTag, S-Drive, and services to solve evolving customer demands in the DAM and technology industry. Next slide, please. Okay, we're going to start off with the critical role of DAM in e-commerce, and Magdalena is going to take this next part, but I'd like to ask a question first to start it off. So Magdalena, can you please provide some insights into the main challenges in managing content for e-commerce businesses? Let's talk about that first.
Hi, hello everybody, and thanks Erica for this nice introduction. It's a pleasure to be a part of this webinar today. As Erica said in the introduction, that we have a hot topic here to discuss. And it will be a pleasure just to touch upon the critical role of DAM in e-commerce. As to set the stage. But first, I would like to really touch upon the problem of creation and management of content that retailers and e-commerce businesses really struggle with. And this is a process that often feels more chaotic than an organized process. Well, and there are absolutely more aspects than imaginable that really contribute to the complexity, but the important ones to point out that the content itself is complex matter. Then the number of distribution channels, and next are the scale and velocity that make an important ingredient in terms of managing the content library, containing millions or thousands of millions of assets for any retail or e-commerce business. And lastly, or maybe the most important ingredient for this content complexity struggle is people and processes. So, and also managing that content as a team in an efficient, collaborative way. So what it entails is really lost time to market for these e-commerce businesses, lost digital assets, a lot of struggle with brand consistency, and of course, at the end, lost revenue for them. So if we speak about on how to solve these, this is the question to arise here. Why a DAM system is your e-commerce powerhouse? And it's very clear here that the system, a digital asset management system on its own, provides the single repository or the single source of truth, as we love to say, for many organizations, including fast-moving consumer goods manufacturers, retailers, including e-retail. So from product images to marketing videos, 3D render models, and any type of digital asset connected to that product portfolio, it really is in a centralized place where everybody can access from anywhere. And then, well, of course, a robust DAM ensures that every asset reflects the brand of the retailer, and that brand quality and message is maintained throughout the different channels. So really maintaining the brand consistency is one of the key use cases and user benefits, and why a DAM system is an e-commerce powerhouse. But not just that, it really enables retailers and e-commerce businesses to have a streamlined workflow in place. Now, this is a topic that's going to be touched upon more by our experts, Sandra and Bulent, in terms of how retailers can really create that workflow in a streamlined manner by connecting the DAM with the rest of the technology ecosystem, or tech stack, or MarTech, that we love to call in short. So it simplifies the asset lifecycle from creation to archiving, and also it's reducing the manual effort from the teams involved in that whole digital and product and brand asset management process. So, and by doing that, these teams are really focusing on the creative and strategic initiatives in their workplace, and do not waste the time and the energy to really manage the content, the digital assets in a manual or a disconnected manner. And then at the end, of course, managing, updating, and distributing assets, keeping pace with the e-commerce speed of change, it really enables retailers to get a faster time to market. So in short, that I hope that with that I managed to, of course, to answer your question, Erica, in terms of why a DAM system it has a critical role in e-commerce. Do you have any other questions for me, Erica?
No, that was great. Thank you so much. That's always everyone's burning question. Why?
Why?
Right.
Yeah. Before we move forward with Erica, with Sandra, I'd really like to also touch upon the common use cases that we find with the retail and e-commerce industry verticals. So basically, having the DAM in place, it's not just for product content management. It also offers a marketing and brand management type of system that seamlessly really enables this. And the third common use case that I've really stumbled upon by really collaborating and working with customers on the WoodWing side is enable their omni-channel retail processes. So as I said, as a product content management, it's a no-brainer. A DAM really efficiently manages all the digital and product assets connected to the portfolio of products offered by an e-commerce storefront. And yes, they can efficiently organize, update, and enrich the product pages. And it's really improving the whole customer experience and, of course, potentially increasing that conversion rate. The second one, of course, as I mentioned, all the retailer and e-commerce brand images, marketing materials, anything seasoned that the marketing team is working on can really be streamlined within the DAM, and the team can collaborate very efficiently by having the whole Adobe InDesign and Photoshop integrations in place to really collaborate on not just the management, but the creation of the digital assets for this purpose. And the last thing, the last use cases, as I mentioned, it's common knowledge that e-commerce businesses really broaden their network of selling in an omnichannel environment. So not just through their website or application, but they really go into the whole marketplace like Amazon, eBay, and similar. And a DAM system really provides this unified platform to serve the content to all of these multiple platforms. It connects with a CMS, with a CRM, with a PIM system, and really enables that whole workflow to be seamless and really maintaining the product and the brand image and consistency towards all those multiple channels. And yes, here I would like to also point out that the role of a DAM is crucial, and it is in cases that we have many customers use it as a headless DAM. And what this means is actually having the DAM in place connected with all those systems, but the user does not interact with the application front end of the DAM. They actually interact with the applications they work with, whether that's a customer relationship management system, a content management system, or a product information management system. And the DAM just acts as an engine in the background in feeding all that product and brand images to those outputs. So it's really interesting here, and this is one of the most interesting cases and one of the most user-effective one. And I'm sure, as I said, the experts later on after me will touch upon this topic. And lastly, I would like to just briefly talk about introducing WoodWing Assets, which is a digital asset management solution offered by WoodWing. In a nutshell, what it is, it's a scalable digital asset management system that really grows with the growth of content consumption and content needs by the users. It's highly customizable solution, so it's also a perfect fit for any type of organization or any vertical or any size of it. And what it makes it unique is the easy to integrate part, and the open API. Which is very seamlessly integrated with the technology ecosystem of an e-commerce e-commerce organization. And lastly, we have a vast partner network around the world with more than 60 partners. And of course, Signgate is one of our partners in the US that really enables this industry vertical to really cater to their needs and understands the whole workflow process. So that was all in a nutshell from my side. Erica?
Great. Let's go to the next slide, please. I'm going to introduce Sandra again and let her take over. But before we do this, I want to ask a question, of course. So let's start with common misconceptions. What are some common misconceptions, Sandra, regarding the implementation of DAM systems by retailers? Why? What's the big challenge?
Well, hi, and first of all, thank you for my part as well for the super nice introduction. Well, maybe one of the most common misconceptions regarding digital asset management or DAM systems is that DAM is just a silo. It's just one place where your digital assets are stored, and they die off there, and they don't serve you any more than that. But DAMs of today are really something totally different, and they should be tightly integrated in your whole technology ecosystem to support and serve all of your processes and bring them closer together rather than just dividing them further apart. So I would say that's probably one of the most seen misconceptions about digital asset management systems.
Thank you so much for answering that. That's a great segue into allowing you to go a little bit deeper into your insights and what you've learned over the years and through your experiences. So I'll let you run with it. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Okay, so I will actually be going a little bit diving deeper on the topic that Magdalena already spoke about, and I'm going to discuss the topic about DAM workflows today. So just a short introduction to DAM workflows in case there is someone who's new to this on the call. So basically what a DAM workflow is, it is a predefined series of predefined steps or actions which are used in your process when you're managing or processing the assets within your DAM system. And the idea is that you will standardize your processes to make the time to publish or time to market as fast and streamlined as possible. And also it aims to make sure that you can manage a really coherent asset library in your DAM. And you can use workflows that are in your DAM out of the box from there, or then you could even build custom workflows which maybe better support your specific needs in the process. So let's see if I'm able to change the slides. Yes. Okay, so touching or discussing the collaboration and the guidelines. So basically what you can do, as Magdalena already mentioned, you can use the digital asset management system to collaborate with your team on all of the important details around your digital assets and the life cycles of them. And the collaboration workflows make it really easy to connect both of your internal and the external people who are working on the same set of assets. So for instance, you could have someone from your product management or your marketing team maybe setting up an upload link into the DAM to make sure that you will get the assets delivered, which you are requiring or lacking. And when the assets have arrived, all the relevant people will be notified, and they can in turn immediately continue working with their assets with their part of the process before, again, they will send the assets down the pipeline toward publishing. And maybe a very natural step after you have acquired the assets into the DAM is having a review and approve workflow in there. So basically, that's what enables you to work on the assets from start to finish in one tool set. So you don't have to be sending the assets through different emails or Dropboxes or shared drives to get comments or sign off on your assets. You can just upload the asset into DAM and get it all approved and reapproved within the same system. So this workflow is usually pretty straightforward, even though there's often many stakeholders involved here. Oops, I dropped the slides. Right. So, and then there's the guidelines workflow. So the brand and the product image guidelines make sure that you'll stay super consistent with the look and the feel in every channel, also your e-commerce channel. And this could be a setup of different types of things. For instance, you could utilize a brand portal to really make sure that you communicate your brand or your product guidelines very efficiently to all the stakeholders. Again, they could be internal or external stakeholders. It doesn't really matter. You can use the brand portal each way you want. And then within the DAM system itself, you could maybe set up a bunch of automation rules, which would then ensure that your product-related assets are handled according to your product asset guidelines. So as they move down the pipeline for publishing, they will be coherent in your e-commerce channel as well. So for instance, you could enrich the assets with specific types of metadata. For instance, if you have an integration with your PIM system, you could use product-related metadata to really make sure that they are handled and pushed forward in the process according to your guidelines and rules. Or maybe you want to harmonize the assets themselves, the colors, the sizing, the file types. All of this is possible to be automated in DAM. And that's actually something I'll be touching on a little bit later. But before I do, we will go on and discussing lifecycle management. So Making sure that your asset repository stays super fresh and accurate is very, very important, especially when you're dealing with a lot of assets or large asset library. And in a product-related asset world, the assets are usually updated quite regularly or irregularly, but they are constantly being updated. So this is where the lifecycle management comes in your DAM processes. So first of all, you can use version control workflows, and they will help you maintain the accuracy of the assets without having to deal with any duplicate assets. So you're always working with the newest version of your asset. And versioning can be done manually. It's usually very, very simple. But again, if you're dealing with large amounts of incoming or updated assets, you'll be wise to reduce the manual work and use maybe metadata-based automation here as well. And then we have the publishing workflows. And these are the workflows which are specifically for your publishing process, just to make sure that you're publishing your assets to the right channel at the right time, and also vice versa when you need to unpublish or archive an asset. So these workflows are usually based on metadata, and they also follow a set of preset rules, which are then specific for your publication process. So quite often it's setup of maybe publication or archiving dates, which you can manage in bulk actions, or again, if you're leveraging automation and integration to your PIM system, you could be reading metadata from your PIM and then really have that automated as well. So when the timestamps are met, either for publishing or archiving, your asset will be acting accordingly to those. And when the asset has been published, it's available for all the relevant channels. They can achieve or get the asset. And then, of course, when the asset has been unpublished or archived, it won't appear in any unwanted places because simply it just can't be found. And I'll have a quick word on the automated cleanups in DAM as well, because keeping your DAM clean is very important. So it's also possible to automate or create automated cleanup actions in your DAM, so that no one would really have to do large amounts of cleaning ups of thousands of assets, maybe manually. So you could either totally automate the cleanups, maybe based on some metadata triggers, or you could create kind of a cleanup rule, which would then be triggered separately. So that could either be time-based, once per 6 months or whatever, or you could also do the triggering of that workflow manually. And a pro tip on cleanup, when you're dealing with large amounts of assets, this will really help you optimize your storage costs if you remember to keep your DAM clean. Okay, so the last topic I will be discussing is artificial intelligence. I wonder if there's any presentation these days which doesn't speak about AI, but funnily enough, the topic of AI in DAM isn't actually just something that's popped up this year. It's just something that, or it is something that's been developed and tested for supporting the DAM workflows for many years already, actually. But since the explosion of AI, and especially generative AI, has now become very, very at hands for us, the toolset has also developed much more and is now much more mature and stable than it was a few years back when the whole AI in DAM started. So the best use case for using the AI in your DAM system would absolutely be in automating any time-consuming or repetitive tasks. So you could automate image and metadata processing to happen as bulk actions with basically minimum to no. For metadata, you could, for instance, use image recognition to really automate the descriptive metadata tagging of your assets. You could teach the AI your vocabulary, or then you could just utilize it to translate the metadata that your assets need. And then there's the image processing side of AI in DAM. This could be anything from color corrections to file type harmonization to even removing the backgrounds of your assets. And if you use AI for harmonizing your file types, you will really make sure that your publishing process runs smoothly into any output channel or device that's viewing your assets. And the background removal, that's a great way to free up so much time from manual and super slow image processing work. So basically, in a matter of seconds, you'll be rid of that white background and have a transparent asset to work with. And as a side note on that, actually, you'll be super worryless when you don't have the background surrounding your product image, because you could then utilize the product in automated, maybe even feed-based digital marketing campaigns or outputs, and there won't be any clashes with the browser's backgrounds or the marketing creative background colors, which might be on the templates already. So going back on the point I had about brand and product image guidelines earlier, using the AI automation on your product assets, you could really ensure that you have a super coherent look and feel on your e-commerce as well. So you will easily follow the guidelines without having to use too much time yourself to manually handle and go through all of the assets when they come in. And that's basically what you want to achieve with your DAM. You want to have fast and super streamlined processes so that you can really make sure that you publish quality content as fast as possible. And that's my part. I will hand it over to back to Erica.
Thank you so much. That was so helpful. And I love that you tied in AI, because of course that's a topic that everyone is so interested in these days. And I'm sure a lot of our attendees didn't realize how much or for how long AI has actually been part of the DAM system and integration. So that was really helpful. I did have a question, and I was going to ask you about, what would you suggest to optimize e-commerce, the e-commerce experience? But I think you covered a lot of it with the background removals. I love the idea of the automated cleanups. I mean, that certainly saves a lot of time. Is there another sort of area that maybe we're not aware of that really helps optimize the experience?
I would take a really close look at the processes in general. So how do your assets come in? Is there some space for automating that? Do some integration with external channels. Well, yeah, maybe that's one topic that comes to mind in addition to the ones I already discussed. But I would love to ask follow-up questions on the chat or email, whatever we choose to do later as well. So
that's great. Thank you so much, Sandra. I have a feeling that we could go on and on this topic, especially around AI and optimization and how to optimize e-commerce. So I'm going to start the next section, and I will introduce Bulant Dugan. But first, I have a question for Bulant. Welcome, Bulant. The question for you to start off your section for e-commerce optimization with DAM is, what are the biggest challenges in managing DAM solutions within e-commerce? What would you suggest?
I would say that easily a lot of people think about the implementation of the system as a pretty straightforward task. But when it comes to reality, there are many different systems that need to be connected to each other. And this becomes too technical sometimes. It becomes a large project to implement. That's one of the items that we try to simplify by providing our services and our expertise. But that's what people face. It's kind of they think it's like Lego pieces you can put together. We're trying to streamline those processes actually, but it's usually what takes the most time. And standardization of data is another piece. A lot of people don't think about how all these systems will communicate to each other, how your data that is not very clean in your ERP systems will come over to your nicely designed e-commerce system that should be consumer specific and targeted for your consumers. That data consistency, standardization, and beautification takes a lot of time.
Okay, so ultimately, you think you have these Lego pieces, you set up the people, the process, and the technology, but it's not always as simple as it seems, unfortunately, right? So,
Right. Yes.
All right, well, thank you for answering that question, and I will let you go on with the next section, e-commerce optimization with DAM, and then we'll chat afterwards.
Sure. So I'll start with the main pieces of content systems that we have in this ecosystem. First of all, we talk about DAM. DAM is where we mentioned the name before, source of truth for your digital assets is the DAM. And your source of truth typically for your product information is a product information management system, which is the PIM. Then you try to merge the data between these two systems, content coming in from the DAM, product information coming in from the PIM, and then you need to push this consistently and continuously to your e-commerce channels. And this is the main challenge within the e-commerce systems. And you can optimize this. You can turn it into a very streamlined process by doing a lot of integrations, but also leveraging expertise already built into many of the tools and many of the people who have been experiencing these pains in the past. So if we talk about how these systems interact with each other, I'll bring this diagram. And in this diagram, you can easily see that the digital asset management system is the source of truth for all your product media and even your brand assets. And these assets need to live in multiple locations. You also have a different audience, or maybe the producers of your content are a different group of people. These are the creative people. These are working on building nice product images. They go to photo shoots. They create beauty shots or in-context shots for your products. And they all go into the DAM. And they have their own organizational structure. They have their own workflows. Product information management system is usually fed from your ERP systems, from your manufacturing data. And when it comes into the PIM, you have your brand managers that are taking a good look at that information. And they are saying that I'm going to make this as beautiful as it can be so that it addresses my consumers' needs. It uses the right terminology for my consumers. It shows all the details of my product, and they work in the PIM system to be able to do that. They have their own workflows within the PIM system to beautify the data about their products. And then these two systems need to merge the data together. DAM usually gives their assets to the PIM, and PIM can also enhance the usability of the assets within the DAM by enriching metadata. So you pull metadata into the DAM, or you can push from the PIM to DAM, the product attributes that you need on your images so that you can easily search on content. For example, if you're searching for, show me all my products where the color is blue and the size is more than, I don't know, 50 centimeters. In those type of detailed searches, what you will need in the DAM is this metadata. And you can't expect people to type in all the product dimensions on every single asset. So you need to bring that data from the source of truth for that data, which is your PIM system. And these two systems then push this data to where it will be used. Either it's your own e-commerce channel, which can be a commerce cloud, maybe on Salesforce or SAP or various other systems, or you can push it into a syndication system where then it goes out to many other retailers. And it can also go to your website where you will have a product catalog. So all these need to be coordinated properly and integrated with each other. And this integration may also include workflow systems such as Rike, ClickUp, Workfront, and then maybe some product lifecycle management systems like you will use to generate your PDFs, or you will drive features of your products. So all those systems may need to be all integrated together. And this is one of the biggest challenges, because it becomes a very large, unpredictable project where you have to put all these systems together and make them work and talk them in the same language, which is usually consistency of your data between these systems. And to streamline that, we also worked on an e-commerce enablement platform, which actually, if I can go to the next slide, or maybe I went too much. Okay, in the next slide, I'll talk about OneTag, which is one of our products, and it allows you to enable all these systems to talk to each other without heavy coding, or actually no coding is what we are promising. And it streamlines the content flow. So this type of an integration platform will allow you to reduce these dependencies with these systems, because at any point in time, you may also upgrade one of these systems and break all these integrations if you're connecting these dots with each other point to point. So this type of a system will help you streamline your processes. It will help you ease the pain on your project implementations, and you will be able to control the integrations yourself without having to use external parties like ourselves even, where we have to come in and make changes as your business changes. This will make you more agile to respond to demands in the ecosystem. So this is what I want to talk about, but I will go into a deeper case study that we had. And in this case study, what we have done is, this was for a large customer in US, and they had a very specific need, and they were in the consumer packaged goods industry. So their demanding requirements was to constantly update multiple channels with all the product changes that are happening, all the standard changes that they need to communicate, the product documentation changes, the product information changes, all of those needed to be updated in multiple channels, including their own websites and their own e-commerce channels. So we work with them to identify a system that will allow them to streamline their content workflows. So in the past, they were using folders, very complex naming conventions, and they also had duplication of assets everywhere within their folder structures to be able to serve these different channels with different sizes of content stored in multiple folders. It was very inefficient, and they had a lot of cost involved in managing this, storing this, backing them up, and it was becoming unmanageable as their product portfolio increased, and they added multiple brands into their global presence. And what we did was, first of all, we proposed WoodWing Assets to them. And once they realized how easy it is to use WoodWing Assets and the desktop integrations available, the creative team realized that they don't care about the other systems. They need to focus on their work. And that meant they will be able to upload the content whenever they finish the content. And then they will also be able to use the desktop tools to upload variations of that content into the system. And all they needed to do was use a simple naming convention for their files, just to simplify the metadata entry. So they will put the model numbers into the files, and we will be able to extract all that model number information and put it into WoodWing Assets. We then, after the implementation of the DAM, we took those model numbers and used that as our integration point into their product information management system. So suddenly, all thousands of assets that they have been managing in the DAM were enriched with about 55 data points coming in from their PIM system. So now they had these very easy to use filters, allowing them to find exactly what they are looking for. The last step for the solution was to integrate this WoodWing Assets system to Commerce Cloud on Salesforce and their website for their e-catalog. So to do that, we used the plugins available in WoodWing Assets, and we wrote some scheduled plugins that will periodically check the changes that are happening in the DAM. And according to the metadata, it will push these content in various formats out to those systems. So at the end, they streamlined their brand consistency. They were able to react to changes that has to happen in their assets, and those were trickled down into the rest of their downstream systems. They improved their searching within the DAM, which made it very easy for them to find exactly what they are looking for with just 1 or 2 filters. And they only had to keep the best, highest resolution content in their DAM. Everything else was derived content by leveraging very quick file conversion processes available in WoodWing Assets. And file sharing was also a big need for them. They had to share their files with various partners, distributors. Ad hoc sharing was needed for campaigns with other retailers. So this was handled by easy sharing of content from WoodWing Assets. That was a big win for them. We even had other customers that they shared their files come to us and purchase WoodWing Assets, saying that I really want their system. So this was a big win for even for us, but this was very important. And finally, this made them very agile. They were able to introduce new products into the market very quickly with just adding one more content into the system, making sure the asset name is correct, and then everything went into the right systems flawlessly without having to do any manual work, any handover. So overall, the number of steps they had to execute, number of Excel sheets they had to deal with, they went from maybe dozens to almost nothing. So everything was streamlined by introducing WoodWing Assets into their ecosystem and integrating it into their PIM, into their CMS, into their e-commerce systems. That was our case study, and this shows the power of how a digital asset management placed in the middle of the e-commerce system can streamline all your processes. Erica, back to you.
I feel like a game show host. Thanks, Bulan. That was that was great. That's an amazing case study, and I love to hear the intricacies between the DAM and the PIM and how they work together, and that speeding that time to market for e-commerce companies and organizations is so important. And going from dozens of Excel spreadsheets down to almost none kind of sounds like perfection to me. So I'm not a fan of using Excel spreadsheets, so this is a great example. Thanks so much for sharing that. And then we have one last section where we're just going to talk about leveraging partnerships. And so I believe Magdalena is going to come back and talk about leveraging partnerships. And so we're a little short on time, so I'm not going to give you a question, right? We have several that have come up, and we'll answer those in the follow-up emails to the registrations. But I'll let you talk about leveraging partnerships and sort of wrap this up for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Thanks, Bulan and Sandra. It was very interesting to get an insight on the whole topic of DAM, the workflows part, and the integrations part. All very crucial topics. And the wrap-up is the following. So basically, WoodWing and SignGate are long-term partner, and we have a long-standing partnership with SignGate to really cater to this industry vertical for the US market. So the expertise we combine in terms of us WoodWing creating the software, the technology for content creation and publishing, and complemented with SignGate's expertise and extensive knowledge in the DAM space, really can be an asset for anybody looking to introduce a DAM or upgrade a DAM, or maybe move from a legacy system DAM to a system such as WoodWing Assets, and really connect it into their technology ecosystem with the help of our implementation partner and integration partner, SignGate. So any practical strategies for streamlining that digital assets workflow and improving content management This is why we are here for. And of course, you can feel free to reach out to us. Also, feel free to look at the woodwing.com or the SignGate websites, and feel free to reach out to us for any free demos, any non-binding consultancy. And yes, we will be more than happy to talk to you and just zoom in on the whole use case and the content troubles you are, you're facing. Thank you. Thank you, Erica. Off to you.
Thank you so much, Magdalena. Thank you to Sandra and Boulant for this great presentation. As I mentioned at the beginning, we did get some questions coming through with the chat. However, I'm going to respond to those in the following email because we're a little bit tight on time. But one of the things I did want to end with is that there are great resources on any of the 3 websites that can help you in your understanding and learning journey of PIM, DAM, e-commerce, and optimization. And also, we are big fans of the Henry Stewart Show and Henry Stewart DAM resources. So be sure to check out that when you have questions. One of those questions that did come in was, what resources can I learn from? So we will add that in the response. But thanks to everyone for being guests today. We really appreciate it. And thanks to you for attending this webinar. Thanks to SignGate. Thank you so much.